Hi, I'm Nadine and I'm here to show you how to use the Fishing Regulation Summary. Fishing is one of the most popular outdoor activities for Ontario residents and visitors alike. With 250,000 lakes and thousands of rivers and streams, Ontario offers a wide range of angling opportunities. Fishing is a great way for families to spend time together, to learn about the importance of healthy waters and fish communities to our quality of life, and to promote greater appreciation of nature. With a range of fishing experiences from walleye in remote northern lakes to world-class salmon and trout fishing within an hour of Toronto, there is fishing opportunity for everyone. In the Ontario Fishing Regulation Summary, you can find out how you can have a great time fishing while helping to ensure the fishery is available for future generations. The summary is available online at ontario.ca/fishing, at Service Ontario counters, or at many retail locations where other fishing supplies are available. You can also have a copy mailed to you by calling the Natural Resources Information Centre at 1-800-667-1940. Here are some tips for using the Fishing Regulation Summary. To comply with the fishing regulations, follow these step-by-step instructions which can be found on page 3. First, make sure that you have a valid Ontario Outdoors card and fishing license. Residents of Canada can refer to pages 4 and 5 for license information. If you live outside of Canada, you can refer to page 6. Now that you have a valid outdoors card and fishing license, and a copy of the fishing summary, the second thing to do is to carefully read the General Regulations section on pages 7 to 13. Here you will find information that applies to fishing in all zones. On pages 7 and 8 of the Fishing Regulations Summary, you will find definitions and general prohibitions. On page 9 of the Fishing Summary, you will find information on Ontario's catch and retain rules, as well as transporting and packaging fish. On page 10 of the Fishing Summary, you will find tips on live release of fish and information on bait. On page 11 of the Fishing Summary, you will find information on game amphibians and reptiles, ice fishing, and non-angling methods. Page 12 of the Fishing Summary contains information on boundary and border waters and Crown land camping. Page 13 of the Fishing Summary has laws to help stop the spread of invading species and disease. Now that you have a valid outdoors card and fishing license, and you have read pages 7 to 13 in your copy of the summary, the third thing to do is to determine which zone you plan to fish in. For recreational fishing purposes, Ontario is divided into 20 fishery management zones, or zones. Use the provincial map of zones, also found on page 3, to determine the zone in which you plan to fish. Then, for a more detailed map, go to the section for the zone in which you plan to fish. For example, a map for Zone 15 can be found on page 68. Once you're in the section for the zone you will be fishing in, check the Zone Seasons and Limits table to determine the open season, the catch and possession limits, and the size limits if applicable, for those species in the zone that you plan to target. Next, remember, most catch and possession limits and some size limits are different for a holder of a sport fishing license than for a holder of a conservation fishing license. S refers to catch and possession limits under a sport fishing license. C refers to catch and possession limits under a conservation fishing license. For example, in Zone 15, if you want to fish for walleye, the open season is from January 1st to March 15th and the third Saturday in May to December 31st. If you have a sport fishing license, you may catch and possess 4 walleye, and not more than one of those fish may be greater than 46 centimeters in total length. If you have a conservation fishing license, you may catch and possess only 2 walleye, and not more than one of those fish may be greater than 46 centimeters in total length. All size limits refer to total length. Also, do not forget to check the additional fishing opportunities in the zone to make the most of your fishing experience. For example, in Zone 15, there are several lakes that are open all year for brook trout, and another group of lakes that are open all year for lake trout. Finally, check the exceptions to the general regulations for the waters or general area in which you will be fishing. If there are any exceptions to the general regulations for the zone, you must comply with those exceptions. For example, in Zone 15, if you are fishing for lake trout, the open season for the zone is January 1st to September 30th. With a sport fishing license, you may catch and retain 2 fish any size. With a conservation fishing license, you may catch and possess one fish, any size. However, if you are fishing on Big Trout Lake in Longford Township, lake trout is open from the third Saturday in May to September 30th, and you would follow the limits identified for the zone. If the limits stated in the exceptions apply only to sport fishing license holders, follow the conservation license limits in the zone regulations table. Now you have your valid outdoors card and fishing license, and you have read the general information in the fishing summary, as well as determine which zone you're going to fish in. You also know the open seasons, catch and possession limits for your license type, and any applicable size limits for the fish you will be targeting. You've also checked for additional fishing opportunities in the zone and identified if there are any exceptions to the zone-wide regulations for the specific water body you plan to fish. The last step applies especially to non-Canadian residents fishing in northwestern Ontario, who must check page 12 for special regulations. The step-by-step instructions I've just shared are found in the front of the fishing regulations summary, both in the paper and online versions. If you are new to fishing or want to introduce a friend or family member to fishing, remember, Ontario offers license-free fishing following conservation limits for Canadian residents for a weekend each February and for a week each July. Read the summary, follow the rules, and share the fun of fishing. We'd love to meet you on the water this year.